every minute that transpires that you are not performing the basic life support and CPR measures, the literature would suggest an approximately 10 to 15% less chance of survival. I heard one of the officers actually ask, actually on 2 occasions, if Mr. Floyd should be turned onto his side. And the response was, no, just leave him. And once the officer announced that he did not have a pulse anymore, I think he actually said he does not have one, was the exact words. At that point, the immediate response would then be to not only relieve him of the restraint, but at that point now you've got to start CPR. You've got to start immediate chest compressions, because we know that if you can get to a patient right away, even when they've lost their pulse, even when they've gone into a cardiopulmonary arrest, there is a significant opportunity to save a life. But for every minute that transpires that you are not performing the basic life support and CPR measures, the literature would suggest an approximately 10 to 15% less chance of survival. It is why we pour so many resources these days into community education and training for bystander CPR, because it's so effective and it works if the person can be tended to quickly enough.
Then from your review of the video, where you could see Mr. Floyd and Mr. Chauvin there on the ground, if Mr. Chauvin knew CPR, did you see any reason from your observation that he could not have supplied CPR?
Not within the opinion, medical opinion, so that is sustained.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Sustained.
All right.
It's not a medical opinion, counsel.
So at the time then that Mr. Floyd was actually put into the ambulance from the scene, in your opinion as a cardiologist, what would have been the prospects of resuscitating him at that point?
Overruled. You may give an opinion if you have one.
So at that point, I think the chance of meaningful survival, unfortunately, was very low, because I counted the number of minutes that he was on the ground, pulseless, without any CPR. And by the time the paramedics rushed in to get him and to get him onto the stretcher into the back of the ambulance, at that point, a lot of time had passed. I give tremendous credit to the efforts of the paramedics and the doctors and nurses in the emergency room. I mean, they worked on him for what seemed...
Sustained. This is non-responsive.